USS John S. McCain was involved in a collision with a merchant ship. The collision occurred east of the Straits of Malacca.
The collision between USS John S. McCain and a merchant vessel near Singapore is under investigation along with an active search and rescue. Chief of Naval Operations Admiral John Richardson addresses the recent incident and the immediate next course of action.
All of our assistance is flowing to the ship and the crew. That is our primary focus right now, the safety of the crew and the ship and taking care of their families. I'd like to thank everybody who has helped us get to this point, including and especially the Republic of Singapore Navy. As you know, this is the second collision in 3 months and the last in a series of incidents in the Pacific Theater. This trend demands more forceful action. As such, I've directed an operational pause be taken in all of our fleets around the world. I want our fleet commanders to get together with their leaders and their commands to ensure that we're taking all appropriate immediate actions to ensure safe and effective operations around the world. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the sailors and families of USS John McCain and USS Fitzgerald.
Good evening. I'm Admiral Scott Swift, the commander of U.S. Pacific Fleet. I've got a brief statement to make, and I'll take your questions following that statement. As most of you know, the guided missile destroyer USS John McCain was involved in a collision with a merchant vessel, Alnick MC, while underway east of the Straits of Malacca yesterday at 5:24 a.m. local time, Monday, August 21st. McCain was transiting to a routine port visit in Singapore when the collision occurred. Right now, we are still searching for our 10 missing sailors. That remains our focus. Our thoughts and prayers continue to be with the families of those sailors and the families of our sailors who were injured. Ships and aircraft from the Royal Malaysian Navy and Republic of Singapore Navy joined search efforts yesterday and continue to provide assistance along with aircraft from the USS America. The U.S. Navy and Marine Corps divers joined a search today, assessing sealed compartments in damaged parts of the ship. The divers were able to locate some remains in those sealed compartments during their search today. Additionally, the Malaysian Navy has reported that they have located potential remains. They are working to confirm and identify those remains. As more information comes in, we will make it available. While the search and rescue efforts continue, I sincerely thank our Singapore partners, our Malaysia partners, and everyone who has responded with urgency, compassion, and tireless commitment. 4 of the 5 sailors injured were medically evacuated by a Singapore Navy helicopter to a hospital in Singapore for non-life-threatening injuries. The 5th injured sailor was transferred after John S. McCain arrived here in port. I visited with those sailors earlier today, and they are doing well. John S. McCain and America arrived in Changi Naval Base yesterday afternoon. While both ships are in Singapore, America is providing messing and berthing services to John S. McCain crew members and supporting damage control efforts on board, which are focused on dewatering the ship and restoring auxiliary systems. Our priority here in Singapore is taking care of the crew and their families, ensuring they have all the resources they need and are updated on the status of their ship and their shipmates. I visited with the crew today. They are tough and they are resilient. It is clear that their damage control efforts saved their ship and saved lives. I ask all of you to keep the affected sailors and their families in your thoughts and prayers, and respect their privacy. Families who are seeking information can call our crisis hotline, and we are continuing to provide updated information as soon as we get it via social media accounts and the 7th Fleet website. From my visit in John S. McCain today, I can tell you that she has sustained significant damage to her port side aft. The flooding was halted, but the extent of the damage is still being determined. We will conduct a thorough and full investigation into this collision, what occurred, what happened, and how it happened. As you know, this collision happened within 2 months of one another. The collision involving the U.S. Fitzgerald, which caused the death of 7 sailors, and earlier this year, there were 2 other incidences involving surface ships in the Western Pacific. One tragedy like this is one too many. And while each of these 4 events is unique, they cannot be viewed in isolation. I welcome the broad, comprehensive review announced by our Chief of Naval Operations. I talked this morning with Admiral Davidson on the phone and look forward to working with him as the Senior Surface Warfare Officer in the Navy to find out whether there is a common cause at the root of these events, and if so, how we solve that. We will implement the operational pause that SEA announced across all fleets, and that will include all units in the Pacific and will be completed by August 28th. In addition, I have directed a second phase that will be focused on all surface ships deployed in the Pacific, including those forward deployed naval forces in Yokosuka and Sasebo. This second phase will be a deliberate reset for our ships, focused on a number of areas such as navigation, ships' mechanical systems, and bridge resource management. It will involve training and assessment by a team of experts with each ship and their watchstanders. And it will be phased in order to cover ships in port and on station at sea. We will take what we learn through each phase and apply it as we progress. Tomorrow I'll be traveling to Yokosuka for discussions with 7th Fleet leadership and engage with the families of the U.S. John S. McCain there. Make no mistake, our sailors in these ships are doing critical work at sea. And for more than 70 years, the U.S. Navy has helped guarantee the security and stability of the Western Pacific. All nations in this region and beyond have benefited from the resulting prosperity that their service has enabled. This work by our sailors is difficult, but it is incredibly important and enduring. We owe it to sailors that man 7th Fleet and their families to answer the questions that flow from the uncertainty of what happened, how could it happen, and what can be done to prevent such occurrences in the future. We owe it to each and every one of them to pursue answers to these questions and others that may be on their mind. We are absolutely committed to doing just that. So I don't want to comment on any specifics. The investigation is in its very earliest stages. I've heard of these reports of potential cyber attacks or cyber interference. We've seen no indications of that as of yet. But I think the Chief of Naval Operations was very clear that we are not taking any consideration off the table, and every scenario will be reviewed and investigated in detail. Will there be a reform in the command chain? Again, it's very early to make a determination of any actions, what might be taken. Our focus is on the 10 sailors that are missing, on their families, and of the crew of the USS John McCain. I think, well, to your last question, I don't think that's the case at all. I was on McCain this morning looking at the eyes of those sailors, even after their heroic efforts yesterday. I didn't see exhaustion. I didn't see a crew that was taking a knee, so to speak. They are manning the USS John S. McCain. They are on their game. They own that ship. Damage control efforts continue. So that view is not a view that I see reflected to me by the 140,000 sailors that man the Pacific Fleet every day. As far as the question of negligence go, that will be a determination of the investigation, and along with the responsibility and authority comes accountability, and I think the record of the United States Navy is clear on that. We have a report from the Malaysians. We're grateful for the support that we continue to get from really across the region. We have a report that they have found a body. We're in the process of effecting the transfer of that body so we can start the identification process and determine whether it's one of the missing sailors or not. There is one body that has been reported by the Malaysian Navy has been found. We have discovered other bodies during the diving on McCain today, but it's premature to say how many and what the status of recovery of those bodies is. So until we have exhausted any potential of recovering survivors or bodies, the search and rescue efforts will continue.
Amphibious assault ship USS America arrived at Changi Naval Base. They are moored across the pier from the guided missile destroyer USS John S. McCain. America will provide messing and berthing services to McCain crew members and support damage control efforts. Search and rescue efforts continue in coordination with local authorities for missing sailors. Ship repair facility divers will assess the damage to the hull. McCain was involved in a collision with a merchant vessel while underway east of the Straits of Malacca.